Antioxidants were a military unit. Vitamin C and E would be the skilled soldiers, but glutathione would be the commander directing and regenerating others. Imagine if you could regenerate dead soldiers on the battlefield, which is essentially what this thing can do on a microscopic level, while also engaging in frontline combat. So once again, glutathione is being used in massive amounts to fix people with jab damage and the problems associated with COVID-19. Garlic and allicin. Now, when you think about garlic, you're thinking this is an antibiotic. The downside of garlic is it stinks, so you want to use it, but you want to keep your marriage. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're extracting the do-it part of garlic, which is known as allicin. This was isolated quite a few years back by the group down in Rye that was specializing in finding what they call modular antibiotics. Now, antibiotics tend to be linear, and that is, if you've got a bug you're trying to kill with an antibiotic, the antibiotic's either going to do it or it's not going to do it. With allicin, you get a cascading or a 3D effect with it, so that as when you get garlic and you slice it in half or even eat it, it goes through this whole cascade of reactions within the body, and it will start spewing out different formats of antibiotics all over. And one of those is likely to hit pay dirt. Edge of wine, garlic, and allicin fight infections with conventional antibiotics, becoming an increasingly hopeless affair. You hear about antibiotic resistance, for instance. People who are no longer able to get out of deadly superbugs and things like that. Allicin is being used, and guess what? There's no upper limit to allicin either. I mean, sure, you eat garlic and you're going to pong. Now you can use 50 garlic cloves worth of whack in one shot, and once again, you don't get that problem that you would get if you were having. So you can use. There's another extension of the white garlic thing. Broad spectrum antimicrobial defense, immune system modulation, cardiovascular protection, blood pressure regulation, cholesterol and lipid balance. Again, after lunch we're going to be looking at this big scam that's going on with cholesterol. Cholesterol is absolutely vital to human health. Antioxidant, sulfur signaling, detoxification, and so on. By the way, when you look at different allicin products, they can be done as natural statins, they can be used to declump the blood. Hardfast we'll look at very quickly. And also you can use in creams and sprays if you've got crispy fungated toenails and things like that. With Hardfast, this is a combination of allicin, beneficial omega-3s and 6 fats, L-arginine for mopping up the ammonia in the blood, and cayenne pepper. If I take half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, shove it in your mouth and clamp your jaw shut, what colour do you go? Bright red. The whole thing is just blows the, it's a vasodilator, basically opens up everything. And this is very important because when you hit 50 or 60 years of age and you're not kind of as sporty as you used to be, you can end up, and you're not drinking water as well, you can end up with thick, chunky tractor oil for blood, which is the clumpy red cells you see at the top system here. And then you start putting that mix in, and it will, over a period of a month, it will start to thin out and remove the viscosity or stickiness of the blood. So you can also use this as a statin if your whole thing is to declump blood. Don't reduce cholesterol. The body absolutely requires cholesterol, as we'll find out after lunch, and that the whole thing is a criminal scam because they can't say they didn't know about it. Probiotics you can take either as a really good probiotic supplement, or you can make your own sauerkraut. For that you'll need three carrots and half a cabbage and some salt in a kilder jar, and you can make up your own sauerkraut, and that will install literally trillions of colony-forming bacteria in the gut. If you can't be bothered to do that, you can take a very, very good probiotic supplement. We do them, other people do them, and this will seed the gut. One of the best times to take a probiotic is very, very first thing just as you wake up. Because what we don't want to do is to take the probiotic and dump it into a stomach full of acid. We want the pyloric valve open, so it will actually get to where it needs to be in the gut. Why probiotics? Gut barrier integrity and defense, immune system calibration, digestive efficiency and nutrient uptake. Remember, all the while you're even thinking about using any of these tools, you're also eating real food. And the body is designed to do this. Now we're in a situation now scientifically where we can actually bring to bear major firepower against a whole range of these diseases. And this is what now becomes possible when you look at what we've been reporting in the ABCs of disease. And by the way, every single week that goes by, we get more good news coming out. But it's not making its way into the medical system right now because we have this lot with the whole pharma thing going on.
Number one.
We'll look at Barbara after lunch. Probiotic enzymes we looked at. We'll just look at iodine very quickly. Iodine is required for the manufacture of all human hormones. The problem with iodine is it's very easily displaced out of the body with other halogen elements. If you can cast your mind back to your chemistry classes, you remember there was a group on the periodic table called the halogen elements: chlorine, bromine, fluorine, astatine, iodine, those types of things. Iodine is the second heaviest element used in human metabolism next to tungsten, which means it's very easily replaced or kicked out. Iodine, of course, is used for fertility, it's used for hormones, it's used for absolutely everything hormonal in the body. The mineral missing from your diet, this is the male that's causing you to put on weight, and the 10 signs you have low levels. If you're low on iodine, you tend to put on weight because the body is not able to recalibrate itself properly. There's your white iodine slide. Thyroid hormones production. By the way, thyroid, here's an interesting one for you. A lot of ladies are getting thyroid issues. They're taking those to the doctor, and the doctor says, oh, well, your thyroid's not working properly. We need to put you on levothyroxine. Remember that, girls? Levothyroxine. And you say to them, how long have I got to take that for? And they say, for the rest of your life. So now I'm going to give you an analogy. I'm going to get you to run the London Marathon, right? You, not me. I'm going to be waiting at the finish line with a wheelchair, because after you've run 26 miles, you're going to need a wheelchair to collapse into. And there you come puffing up at the end. I said, get in the wheelchair quickly, and you collapse into the wheelchair. And after 10 minutes or so, you're kind of recovered back to normal, and you say, how long have I got to stay in the wheelchair for? And I reply, for the rest of your life. Which sounds really creepy, right? No, the bottom line is, it's only until you've recovered. Now, how many people are under that amount of stress that they're burning out the endocrine system? They're burning out adrenal glands, thyroid, pituitary, and the glands aren't working. You get symptoms. You take those down the road to the doctor. He says you're not producing levothyroxine. Of course not, because your thyroid is knackered. It needs to go to the Bahamas for 3 weeks or something. It needs to lie out in the sun. But we're not doing that these days. Nobody's got any money, and we don't want to go on cruise ships anymore, do we? Not really. So the thing is, you need iodine, and the thing that goes in with that also is selenium, which we'll look at after lunch. And here they want to prescribe statins to kids as young as 15 to slash heart attack risks as well, which is all jab damage and all the rest of it. Curcumin we were looking at earlier. This is this slide, which is all about natural methods for protecting against respiratory issues, but also detoxing people who've got jab damage. COVID jab damage. Did I have a Y on this one? Oh, there you are. You know the slideshow. So what we've looked at is 10 of these things. I think there was 10 there. And I've just shown you briefly what their characters are, how they work. What we'll do after lunch, we're going to take half an hour off now. What we're going to do after lunch is I'm going to put this lot to work for you, and we're going to pick out some of the worst diseases we're dealing with at the moment. I'm going to show you how this all goes together. And by the way, don't even try memorizing any of this. And by all means, take notes, but it's all written down in the ABC's book. So we literally have a take action section, which bullet points a list of what to take, how much to take, and when to take it, and the rest of it. None of this is rocket science at all. Good. Bon appetit. Have a lovely lunch, and let's get back at 2 o'clock. Thank you.